Hi guys, today we are going to take a look at the New Zealand housing market and we're going to see how it's tracking. First of all, it is the 1st of November and the number of residential property listings for sale right now on TradeMe is 45,656 properties. For comparison, on the 7th of November last year, using exactly the same search, there were 45,596 residential property listings for sale on TradeMe. So this year the number of listings so far are even higher, with more and more listings piling on every single day. And I suspect that the threat of a future capital gains tax will make even more houses get listed, because property investors are famously allergic to paying any form of tax. Obviously, the unelected RBNZ is once again doing everything they can to try and get the Ponzi reignited again, because that is what they do. Getting inflation down is clearly now only their pretend job. Just recently they have slashed the official cash rate, even when inflation is at 3% and rising, which is the exact opposite of what they're supposed to do. They have relaxed the LVR rules, allowing more risky lending to low deposit borrowers. And they are now going to even loosen bank capital requirements, which will let banks lend out even more into an artificially inflated Ponzi. Now all of these things will have some effect in propping up the Ponzi for a little while longer. But will it be enough to save it completely? Who knows? Only time will tell. So let's have a look at a number of listings in a few different areas so we can all see how healthy the New Zealand housing market really is. This is Cooper's Beach at the top of the North Island. Now house prices went insane up there during COVID, but now the sellers up there are really struggling to accept the new reality, which is why out of a population of 648 people, there are 140 properties for sale. Totally normal. Now a word of advice for anyone wanting to sell their property up there. If an agent tells you that your property is worth 2021 prices, then they are telling you this to get the listing. They will then, over time, when no offers are coming in, condition you to lower the price. Your best bet is to list with an agent who is honest in the first place and tells you the new reality where the market's at. That's the only way that you're going to ensure that your property is not one of the green dots that actually goes nowhere for months or even years. Next, we will look at Matarangi. Oh dear, 146 listings here. Now some of these will be sections, but even so, that is an incredibly high number for such a small area. Eventually these sellers are going to have to accept the new reality. The RBNZ-induced COVID boom still has so many sellers locked in La La Land, and it's really sad to see. They are clinging on to a time gone by, and it's tragic. The thing that people in these areas where rich people have been stealing the chance of home ownership from local young people by buying up second homes is that when a new capital gains tax comes in, which it almost certainly will at some point now, no matter what happens in the next election, then second homes will be taxed. Obviously, this is a great thing because it will crash these markets so local people can finally buy. But in that scenario, if you do want to sell, you don't want to be listing at an unrealistic price like so many are right now. So if you want to sell your property, get 3 appraisals. Ignore the agent who gives you the highest price estimate and the agent who gives you the middle price estimate. And listen to the agent who gives you the lowest price estimate, because that is the agent who is the most trustworthy. They've intentionally risked not getting the listing by telling you the truth. Unlike the other two, who want to hook you in with a fake price and then they will slowly condition you to the new reality. This is the game so many of them play. And by doing this, they have cost many sellers an absolute fortune because they have missed out on decent offers that are now impossible to achieve in this market. Okay, next we will look at Palmerston North. 401 listings on that map, but only 150 are actually showing, so let's zoom in a bit. Wow, 149 in that area. So let's zoom out. Just look in that area, there are 149 properties for sale and obviously many more not showing in the surrounding areas. Palmerston North was another town that jumped for no good reason during COVID. But reality is slowly coming back in, which is good to see for the local young people who just want a chance at owning their own home and maybe even starting a family. It's not too much to ask for now, is it? It's only investors buying everything up with the full backing of the government that is enabling this. But hopefully that's going to change soon. Next we will look at Paraparaumu. Just in this little area here, there are 337 listings and only 150 showing, so let's zoom in a little bit more. Wow, there are 205 here with only 150 showing, so let's zoom out a bit. Now I think you can probably agree that that is an insane number of listings, and only 150 out of the 205 are actually showing. So many of these properties are overpriced, and with many new listings coming on every day, if these sellers don't get a wriggle on and accept the new reality, then I really do hope that these people don't have to sell, because if they do have to sell, then they may be in a bit of strife. Okay, so now let's go down a bit more and look at Westport. Oh dear, 194 property listings with only 150 showing. If we zoom in a bit more, just this town area has 142 listings. Now that is insane. Imagine being one of these people hoping to entice a buyer with all of that competition. And then just imagine all of the new listings that are piling on right now. If these new people who are listing list with a realistic price, then all of you sellers who have been sitting on the market for years have blown your chances. Perhaps you can decide that you will rent it instead, but not everyone can. So the sooner reality is reached in the minds of the sellers, the better. It's so sad to see these people trying to cling on with unrealistic hopes. I mean, even if they drop the price, most of them will still be making a profit. Why don't they just get on with their lives? Now the next area that we will look at is Waimate. 127 properties listed in that tiny town. Now Waimate is not a bad town, but seriously, how many people are flocking to Waimate? What are these unrealistic sellers waiting for? Because whatever it is, I am afraid that it is probably never going to happen. Now let's have a look at Jack's Point, that exclusive area in Queenstown. 77 listings in that tiny area. Now these are very expensive homes. Or should I say that they are just average homes with enormous price tags. Now they have got a lovely backdrop, but a lot of these listings are second homes. So if a capital gains tax comes in, they'll be affected. And then suddenly the shine will have gone off these overpriced, nice to have properties, won't they? Now I would expect quite a few more listings coming on in this area over the coming months. And last but not least, let's have a look at Invercargill. 276 listings in this area alone. So let's zoom in a bit. Wow. Even in this zoomed in area, there are 175 listings with only 150 showing. So zooming out, we can see the insanity that is Invercargill. Invercargill used to be an affordable town, but then like most towns in New Zealand, the parasitic investors decided to buy everything up so local people could no longer afford to buy. And this is why locals are trapped having to rent from the outside investors for the rest of their lives, whilst the parasitic investors just enjoy the rest of their lives, pulling in ever-increasing rents and watching the ever-increasing capital gains pile onto their properties. For anyone watching this who is worried about the capital gains tax that Labour is talking about introducing, it will not affect your own home and it will not affect your farm. However, it will affect the richest in society who own all the investment properties. You know, people like Luxon, who sold 4 properties last year and it is said made $600,000 in tax-free capital gains. Just think about that. You have a hard-working scaffolder putting enormous strain on their bodies in all weathers and having to pay tax on their income. Or the pizza delivery driver who is struggling to get from A to B in crazy, stressful Auckland traffic and only earns the minimum wage but still has to pay tax on their income. So then why should they pay tax on their hard-earned money? Yet Luxon and his rich friends do absolutely nothing for their hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital gains, yet they pay no tax on it. There can be no working class person in New Zealand who looks at this and thinks that it is right. The only people who desperately want the status quo to continue and who want to convince you that the status quo should continue are the rich people who are massively benefiting themselves. People like the landlords who have had their rents set so high that the renters just can't afford it, so the taxpayer is for some crazy reason having to cough up $2 billion per year in accommodation supplements. If this practice stopped tomorrow, the rents would come down the next day. Landlords who are also hoovering up a fortune in interest deductibility tax breaks that are costing the taxpayer almost $1 billion per year right now and will cost over $1 billion per year and rising after 2027. The taxpayer is burdened with all of these costs that the landlords in Parliament voted for. Surely we can all see what's going on now, can't we? Do I have to remind anyone that Luxon changed the Bright Line test from 5 years to 2 years, which coincidentally benefited him to the tune of many tens of thousands of dollars? Now, working class Kiwis, don't take it anymore. And whatever you do, don't believe what most of the mainstream media outlets are telling you, because they are paid to say what they do by their real estate masters. Just listen to who the biggest advertisers are on most of these shows. And do I trust Labour? Absolutely not. But I don't trust Luxon or Willis even more. This targeted capital gains tax plan that Labour has come up with is a very good thing. The mere threat of it means that the National Party has to do something to counter it, which means that the Ponzi is on very thin ice. And seeing as the Ponzi is the reason why so many young Kiwis are leaving New Zealand, then the sooner it comes crashing down, the better. Perhaps then grandparents will be able to see their grandchildren grow up. Imagine having a government like we've got now, who sees landlords' profits as more important than that. How is it being allowed to come to this? So thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers for that.